I always thought that. They say you look like your mother. It's a compliment. They say you look like your dad as well. So. I look like my older brother. They always say you look like your dad. Now I was at the Almond first time. Look like that. First name's Carl. Now, how did you get that?
It's my grandma's, my dad's it's Beverly. It's Karen. So it's spelled different. But it's when I was born, they both had grandma's surgery. So it's kind of.
Now, what are you doing?
I just was high school, just graduated. So I'm just going to take care of community college this year. I don't know, I'm just going to go from there. I'm not sure if I'm doing trying to do like visual arts, but like really not exactly what I'm going to do. I might go to college. I thought about LBC. But yeah, so I'm starting there, and they're starting volleyball team this year. So I'm playing on the team.
Pickleball's a real thing.
Yeah, I know. My grandpa plays that.
Yeah. It's like crazy. It's crazy. So, especially on the West Coast.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. And then I probably maybe could learn, like I might learn more than I just didn't want to like start doing that because that's not
I guess you can start, right? Can we get started, you think?
I would say you could.
Yes, please. So we have guest speaker this morning. Kurt Young is here. You're a visitor after seeing you interact with lots of people.
Well, I've been around for nice to see everybody.
But Kurt is here as an advocate to talk about PAC7, which is a ministry of the ARP Church, and I am incredibly excited about PAC7. And so I hope you'll give your attention to him. It's a neat ministry. It's similar to Steve Brunson's going to be here next week, and he'll talk about Trans World Radio and what they're doing in the Southeast Pacific. Similar, but exciting what God is doing through live streaming TV.
Great.
So there you go.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. I hope you all got your coffee. What I'd like to do is just open us up in a word of prayer and speak with you a little bit and take some questions. Father in heaven, we just love you. Thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for rain. Thank you for the crops, the food, the abundance, such abundance. Lord, I pray that you be with us as we think about Pakistan this morning, and PAC7 in particular, and that you would be teaching us what you'd like us to know and to learn, and moving in our own hearts in terms of our own, missional commitments. And I just pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, I don't think I've led a Sunday school class here on PAC7, have I?
You have.
Pardon?
You have.
Have I done this before?
Yes, you've come. But it's great just to get the update.
Good. So I don't know how long ago that was.
Yearly.
But I don't think I did Sunday school last year. I don't think so. So anyway, I'll tell you just a little story about my own involvement in PAC7. I've been involved with this organization since about 2015. We were incorporated in 2018, so we're just 5 years old in October of this year. So it was really founded by Gordon Bell, who's an elder at Church of the Atonement and very active on the missions board of World Witness. And he was looking at the situation as long ago as 2012, 6 years before we were incorporated. He was looking at the situation in Pakistan with the board of World Witness and making a number of observations. And of course, one of those observations was that since 9/11, the World Trade Tower bombing and the war, the missional attrition in Pakistan was 90%. In other words, 90% of the people who had been serving missionally in Pakistan before 9/11 were no longer there. Their visas were not renewed. They left for security reasons. They retired. Visas of individuals who wanted to come into Pakistan and do what I would call, secular work, but in a Christian frame of heart, their visas weren't being accepted, so there was 90% attrition. The second thing he saw was that which you're very familiar with, is that Islamization in Pakistan was definitely increasing. It increased dramatically, actually, since 1985. And so the situation with the church in Pakistan was that the church was facing greater challenges than it had faced before, and really did not have a public platform from which to share its faith or talk with one another about their faith. Christians could meet in church buildings, and that was perfectly legal to do. But of course, there we go. So anyway, the situation with the church was very challenging. Was very challenging as well. And then the third thing that was observed was that we have a remarkable opportunity to speak into cultures and into nations that are fairly closed or hostile to gospel, and that is through the use of media. We have a platform. It's a virtual platform, not a physical platform in countries, in order to try and have an impact. And the sense was that if we moved in the area or direction of media, we didn't want to be Western. We didn't want to have Western media projected into Pakistan. We wanted Christian media produced in Pakistan by Pakistanis for Pakistan with a thoroughly Pakistani flavor, complete Pakistan cultural influence and presence. So it would not be perceived and would not, in fact, be Western. So that's a little bit of the history. And my involvement really came out of a desire to have an impact in a part of the world that needed it. Pakistan has the second largest number of unreached people groups in the world, and the country with the largest number of unreached people groups is India. And that makes sense when you look geographically at the map. Pakistan and the nation of India were all India, right? Part of the Indian subcontinent, part of the Indian empire before the partition of Pakistan in 1947. And that whole great swath of geography is where you find the greatest number of unreached people groups in the entire world. So that's a little about Pakistan. I'm going to tell you a little bit more as we go, but let me just kind of start with you. On the World Watch list, which is Open Doors World Watch list of the most dangerous places to be Christians in the world, Pakistan is number 8. It was number 5 before it became number 8, and the reason it became number 8 wasn't because Pakistan has changed in a positive direction. It's because other nations have changed in a negative direction. As I say, it's among the least reached nations of the world. It's a difficult place for a Christian witness. But one of the things the thing about Pakistan is its immense size. Pakistan looks a little bit like a dragon, I suppose. Let me go back up a little bit. To me, Pakistan looks a little bit like a dragon, if you're imaginative. Here's the little head, here's the tail, it kind of comes down like this. Anyway, that's the way I look at it. But if you put the dragon of Pakistan on a map of the United States of America, it would extend from Maine, then extend west, not all the way to the Mississippi, but very close to the Mississippi. Gives you some idea of its size. It's much narrower. So geographically, it's a fraction of the size of the United States of America. However, Pakistan has now 230 million people in it. 230 million people. It makes it the 5th largest country in the world. I didn't change the slide. I apologize for that. But when we started out in 2018, 19, 20, and went into COVID, they were saying the population was 220 million. It's now 230 million. It's projected to become 320 million by 2051. To give you an idea of how fast it's growing and the size of this country, the largest country in the world is China, but soon it will be India, right? The largest country will be India, then China. The 3rd largest is the United States. And by 2030, the 4th largest will be Pakistan. It will eclipse, or is eclipsing, Indonesia right now. It will be the 4th largest country in the world, just behind the United States. And one of the things that people say about Pakistan, I think is really true, is it's the largest country in the world that we know the least about. We just don't think of it as a huge country. It is a huge country. It's a very young country in terms of population age. So over half the nation is under the age of 24 years. Is 24 years of age. Over 1/2 the nation. To compare with the United States, half the nation, the United States, is under the age of 38 years of age. So it's an extremely, extremely young nation, huge nation with a lot of potential, a lot of issues, and a lot of problems. Our vision of Pak7 our mission is to serve Pakistani Christians in the witness to Christ and the gospel through exceptional television programming. And what that means very practically is that when we went into Pakistan, our desire was not to do an end run around church, the church that is there, in order to speak to the majority. Our whole goal is to help the Christians in Pakistan find their voice for Christ and then be able to speak and live out before the country their faith in ways that are seen. So we wanted to really shift attitudes toward Christians, the church, and shift attitudes toward Christ. And those both go together. If you raise the profile of respectability, if Christians are seen as good fellow citizens, if they're seen as respectable, and so forth, then their message is going to be given more credibility. And in fact, they are, in many ways, the message of Christ that people are going to see. So that's what we did. So what we focused on is 4 areas, and I'll go into this with you, but one is generating programs that can be shown on national TV, like an ABC, an NBC, a CBS, the equivalent in Pakistan. And although it's an Islamic country or Muslim country, they do not officially have Islamist channels in Pakistan because those are considered to be contentious, and there's a lot of fighting among Muslim groups in Pakistan. Having said that, these channels are thoroughly Muslim in their flavor. But we want to produce programs for national TV that change attitudes toward Christians. So these aren't programs that are overtly gospel describing and gospel proclaiming, but they're showing how Christians live, how they make contributions to society, how their faith affects their life. We also, I'll go to this one secondly, Christian TV. Christian TV is TV that is ostensibly geared toward the Christian community, but that everyone can watch. Everyone can watch, but here the messages are much more explicit in terms of sharing Christ and the Christian life with in programs especially geared toward children, toward youth, toward women, and toward adults. So that was the second area. So national TV, Christian TV. The third area is social media. Social media involves what you'd expect, Facebook, YouTube, but particularly especially Facebook for us in Pakistan, videos that speak about the Christian life, that appeal to people to more directly about biblical truth and how it works in their life, so that they can contact us and we can follow up and we can work with them. And then the fourth area is capacity building. We realized when we got to Pakistan that there were virtually no Christians who were able to do media. That's not true in the Middle East. There are lots of Christians who can do media in a country like or North Africa, like a country like Egypt. But in Pakistan, there was very, very little in the way of very, very little in the way of trained Christian media professionals. So we realized that what we needed to do is build capacity. We needed to actually develop people who were able to do and produce media, to actually raise up a new generation of young Christian adults who could find their voice for Christ, have high skills in media, and actually do production, not only for Pak7, but do media production for other Christian ministry throughout Pakistan. So that's our fourfold strategy, and really it hasn't changed. I'll give you an example. One of our national programs is called Community Makeover. Have you heard of Community Makeover before? Some of you have, maybe some of you have not. This is based on like our domestic programs here, Fixer Upper, where people go in and they rebuild a house. Only the difference here is we renovate charities that have facilities that are run down, that are problematic, and we make a show, a reality TV show about that, so that people learn about what the charity does, what its value is to the community. They see the work that the Christians are doing. They see the endorsements that the community, Muslim community, is giving, and they see the progress and the rehabilitation of the hospital or the institution that is being addressed. And I'll show you a little clip of this later. But this was a rehabilitation we did at Saiwal Christian Hospital, which is the ARP's hospital in Saiwal. It had a pediatric ward that was shut down. And it was shut down because it was just in such need of renovation. So we went in and we renovated the pediatric ward. We built a playground outside. There was a playground area, but it was not in good shape. It really wasn't usable. But a nice playground area for children who are convalescing in the hospital, as well as for their relatives who are cousins or siblings who are coming to visit the hospital. And then we made a whole program about that. That's an example of a national program. I mentioned social media. We do short videos for Facebook and YouTube, and they include testimonials and Christian truths, a lot of online chat, and people praying with other people. Our trained, I won't call them counselors, but our trained folks in following. So let me give you an example. Last year, over 13 million different people were reached on Facebook with our video content. That's 13 million different people. And there were over 40 million video views of our content in social media. And 25, and this is the key reference here, 25 million video views were watched to 95% completion, which is considered to be a complete view. So you had 25 million videos viewed to completion by about 13 million people. It's very impressive, really. And we had about 10,000 conversations in 2022, and about 10% of those result in our praying with or for the people who are there. These conversations are chat conversations, but they aren't just one and done. Most are one and done. And most of the conversations don't proceed into something, deeply spiritual, that you just never know why people are contacting you. But there are conversations that then become ongoing, and that involve that involve introduction to scriptures. We have a special website that is not that's not branded as Pak7's website. In Pakistan, we direct people to it, all kinds of resources, and then do all kinds of follow-up with it. So social media, these are some of the things people say when they write us. I've got some questions. How do I become more righteous? How can I be forgiven? I mean, these are amazing kinds of questions that people are asking. These are real questions taken off our social media reports. Recently, we had an attorney who wrote us and said, I just can't believe this. I mean, Jesus is, I've never heard of any of him before. This is the most wonderful thing I've ever heard in my life. And he gave his life to Christ. Now, at what point is there genuine conversion and so forth? Well, that's what the Lord knows. What we try to do is keep in contact, keep dialoguing with people, and engaging them in scriptural truth. Christian TV, I mentioned it. We have all kinds of programs for Christians, for kids, children's programs. We have a very fine program called Tiny Fingers, which are very artfully done finger puppets telling Bible stories that children absolutely love. In fact, that program is spun off a sequel. We have bedtime stories, which is just telling a Bible story to children, but it not only includes the Bible story, it includes animation, it includes music. I'll show you an example of that. It's very clever. Kahani Camp. This is a fun program. These are just examples. We have a number of them now being produced. But Kahani Camp is like Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts camp on TV. But as the kids learn and they write in, we send them patches. They love patches, word patches for things that they've learned from watching Kahani Camp. We have women's stories, women's shows. One of them is called Sisterhood, and Sisterhood is a new program. It's like a midday talk show that you'd see here, only it's Christian. So you have women talking about on Christian themes together on a couch and on chairs and talking about their faith. There may be a cooking segment of the program, and just very informational, very encouraging for women. There's My Testimony, which is a program. I'm not giving you the Urdu words, but My Testimony involves the stories of people whose lives have been touched by Christ, and then conversation about what that means and how that looks. We have youth shows. Zavia is a great program. Zavia that is an Urdu word. Zavia, we have youth together. They see an enactment, a dramatic enactment of it's sort of like a skit, but it's much better done, that emphasizes some particular biblical truth or idea, and then these youth begin to discuss it together and talk and integrate what they've seen into their faith. Lots of youth music videos, and also which are done by Christians, and they're wonderful. Then we have lots of short fillers, and I'll give you an example of that. 60 to 90 second spots on the Christian's channel where the children or the youth are engaged in an activity and watching something. I will show you that. I want to just point to you www.pak7.com. www.pak7.com is our TV station website. So if you go to pak7.com, you can live stream the programs, you can see stored programs, and even though they're in Urdu, for the most part, they're in Urdu and without English bylines, you'll be able to make out what they are. You'll understand what they are. And in Urdu, there are a number of English words that are used. For our organization, though, we have another website, which is pak7.org. It's a brand new website. It was launched just in the last month, and it will give you in-depth information about Pak7, far more than what I'm giving you here. And you can really learn about the work that we're doing in greater detail. So I think I need some sound. Is there an issue? Let's see. This is actually our channel launch party. I was just going to show you a clip of that, but I guess we're not plugged in yet, but we will be. Here, you need over here on this side. But even as you look at just the video on this, when we launched our channel, it was a year ago. It's a very big deal. We've had a lot of fun. And can we get it, you think? It's not going to reach for us? All right, well, maybe. Yeah. Then I'm going to have to move over there, but I don't mind doing that if you don't mind doing that. Let me know one more time. All right, well, let me just go on to the next slide if I can. Let me take you here. Oh, this is a great example of a 60-second filler. But we're not getting sound. Well, that's all right. We want to show it. Let me tell you what you're watching. This program, this little piece, 60-second fill, the reason it's so cute is that we have children send in pictures, and then we show them on the channel. And when we show them on the channel, these kids do kind of little, what do you call this? Poetry, rap, real fun little ditties that they join in with. And so this encourages children to write in. This encourages children to submit pictures when they're asked to. And when we have 60 to 90 seconds, instead of having ads, we do things like this. We have a Bible Pictionary. We have different programs like little short pieces that we can do very quickly. Christian TV. This is Dr. Jennifer. She's on the board of Pak7 International. And in a very sort of beautifully poetic Pakistani way, she says it's very easy to trample and cut down a young, soft tree. If we send our kids out without giving them Jesus, we are endangering their lives in this world. She's one of our advocates, of course, for the work that we're doing, the children's work that we're doing in Pakistan. Capacity building a pool of Christian media professionals. We have our 4th year now for our Pak7 Media School, and we just had 70 or 80 applicants. We took about 40 or so through an audition weekend, and we've now selected just over 20 to go through this year's media school. What this means for them is that you're taking kids who are very talented, but that have very little possibility, for the most part, of getting advanced education in Pakistan, and face a lot of discrimination just because they're Christians. But we identify these kids, and we take them, and we put them through a 10-week media school, and then after the 10-week media school, we take them through a 10-month internship, a paid internship. So it's paid. They don't have to worry about that, and because they couldn't, because of the situation the vast majority of them are in. And then at the end of that period of time, which is 12 months, they are media professionals, and they have specialized. Some are good in audio, some are good in editing, some are good in camera work, some are good in writing and scripting, and there are many other sort of facets of production, but they know what they're doing, and they're able to do it really well. And our goal with them is we not only have them work for Pak7, we have some on staff, but most of them do not. They work for other organizations, and we contract with those organizations in order to produce material for Pak7. But those other organizations, including businesses they have started, can also, work for anybody who wants to hire them to do production. So they have a livelihood, they have a future, they have a skill, and they're really witnessing for Christ. So it's pretty exciting. Sana says, the change which I felt in my life after being part of the media school is faith. I'm now doing my internship. My faith has really, really increased. So when we do our media school and in our internships, we combine the training and skills with biblical discipleship. These kids come out of a Christian minority background. They're born Christian. Now, I know no one's born Christian, but in the caste system of Pakistan and in the social strata of Pakistan, you're labeled from the time you're born. And Christians tend to be identified with certain castes, being members of certain people groups in Pakistan. So if you grow up in that environment, it doesn't necessarily mean you have the kind of personal relationship with Jesus that you and I would talk about, that you and I would expect or want them to have. And so we disciple them, and we work with them. And they do very, very well. They do very, very well. In fact, Sana is now working for us. She's produced an award-winning film. As a matter of fact, that was not for Pak7, but she created an award-winning film, won a national award in Pakistan, and she's doing very well. Thank you. So this is our media school. I just mentioned it. One of the exciting things about this is that all of the training that we do for our media students is done by Pakistanis. It's not imported trainers. The first year, we brought in a wonderful German Christian couple, to do the training. But since that time, all of our training, even our training of our Pakistani workers, is done by Pakistanis. So it is as indigenous as it possibly can be. Now this is, I'm going to stop this for a minute. Let me back up here. I am thinking that if I don't, I cannot tell you why this audio problem is my computer, and I really do apologize. Some of you may be smarter than I am about this. This does not make sense. My audio should be on. Yeah, the sound is up.
Sound is up.
Let's see, where would I find this? Phone, network, internet.
The system.
Yeah, sound.
The sound's up. Mic's on.
Oh, here.
It's not going to play. Yeah, there you go. Now you play.
Now let's see what we got.
Now that it should work.
All right.
At least on the laptop.
Yeah, let's see what we got.
Because this projector doesn't have a working speaker.
Okay. All right. Now, why am I not getting video?
Hold on.
One or the other. I apologize.
Don't worry. Go to system, go to displays. Oh, it's a mirror.
It says off. No,
Oh,
I don't need that. That's
no, it's
night
night light. Multiple displays, extend these displays. Or no, you want a mirror.
Sure.
Yeah, mirror. If you got mirror, duplicate. There you go. And what you see on your laptop is what you're going to see on there.
All right.
I'll try it. We're kind of jerry-rigging a little. Hit play. Slideshow. from current slide.
Well, let me just do this with the slideshow.
Yep, now go to from current slide. Go to your current slide.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
selection up here.
you show me. Here,
Left hand, see it? Left hand there from current slide. Okay, now use your arrow, leave your mouse alone
Okay.
and only use your arrow key. Here, right here. This should, there you go. And this should automatically start it.
Good. Finally, I apologize. So we'll show you some of our programs. This is Bedtime Stories in Mall. Mintu is a puppet. She tells Bible stories. And this is the story of Joseph and his coat of many colors, so we showed the animation that goes with it. And then we have music. And the music is all produced locally. And people just love our band. They just love it. At the end of the show, Man of Praise, and it's the conclusion of the show. This is Community Makeover. This is Sidewall Christian Hospital. When they first went in, this is the playground that wasn't used. So we feature people coming in just like a TV makeover show, house makeover show here. This is the pavilion, the head nurse, talking about plans. And now they're starting to work on the hospital. This is the new ward. You see all the wallpaper, the artwork, all the new beds. Everything's new. It's produced. These are the nursing students at my end. Here are the nurses looking at the playground. The children. Let me make this one quick comment about that. When we did the pediatric ward, the hospital was looking for a pediatrician. And the person who took the job of pediatrician took the job in part because of the rehabilitation of pediatric ward. And the reason he said so was, wasn't because it looks good. He said, this atmosphere that you created will improve outcomes for sick children who come here. And that was just very, very exciting to us. So that's just a short, that just takes you through a very short exposure to some of our programs. And I'd love to take any questions that you might have. Yes.
What language do they speak?
Pakistan is, these programs are in Urdu. There are two national languages in Pakistan. One national language is Urdu, the other one is English. And that's because Pakistan was a British colony for so long. And so the upper class would tend to know English, but not, it's not commonly spoken in homes. It would be used by people who are getting education and advanced education. But Urdu is the other national language of Pakistan. But there are other languages as well, many other languages in Pakistan. So, yeah.
It kind of reminded me of Sesame Street.
It does.
Instead of Sesame, it's the Way Street. The Way Street 2.0 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, I can see why people enjoy it.
They do enjoy it. Yeah, Mintu maybe is a little like Ernie or something. But yeah, the interesting story of Mintu is that, it was through a Christian here in the United States who's involved in one of our churches that Mintu was created and then sent overseas. That's pretty exciting. So all kind of partnerships are possible. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Nice to see you.
Is this supported not only by the ARP, but other churches as well?
It is. We have the ARP, both as a church or churches, but even more as individuals within the ARP, is by far our primary source of funding. By far our largest source of funding. Our roots are in the ARP, and I think Alex Pettit, who's the head of World Witness, would tell you they definitely view, PAC7 as sprung out of World Witness. PAC7 sprung out of World Witness, but also part of that was a realization. And the realization was that to get an organization or ministry like this effective is going to require funds in excess of what the ARP can provide. And so we have 4 sources of funds in order of magnitude. We have individual donors, major donors. We have foundations. We have churches. And then we have individuals who give smaller amounts of money, which are what most of us do. But those are the sources of funding. If you looked at our pyramid of giving, we instead of, you want a pyramid